Hello, welcome back to ACS. I wanted to take just a few minutes to talk to you about the final presentation. And so I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're just going to take a look at that assignment. Um, all right, you should be seeing that now. Um, and I just wanted to kind of go over like the expectations for the assignment. Okay. So when this is, um, just a heads up for you so that you can look ahead and work ahead and be prepared. Okay, you have to create an infographic. If you don't know what that is or you've never done that before, that might require a little bit of research for you. You're going to have to investigate different ways to do that. Um, there's a way in Microsoft in Word you can create an infographic there. There are templates that you can use. You can create it in Canva, and there are other ways to do it. This is not a PowerPoint presentation, okay? It's an infographic. That's what you need to create. And then you need to give a presentation over whatever your aha moment was during this class, okay? In the presentation, I need to hear your voice and I need to see your face as well as the infographic. Okay, so I've had students do this with a Zoom recording, or they've done it with Canva, or they've done it straight on YouTube. Um, I need a working link so that I can just click on the link and your presentation comes up. I see your infographic, I see you, and I hear you. Okay. Um, because you're being recorded, you need to be mindful. I don't expect you to dress up in your Sunday best, but I do expect you to dress appropriately. Make sure that you are fully clothed and that there's nothing inappropriate in your background or around you. I had a student record a video for one of my classes, and her credit card was laying out on the table, and the viewers could see her credit card information. So just be mindful of all of that. Okay. It needs to be appropriate. It needs to be safe. Okay. So that's what you're going to do. So now let's look at what the requirements are that you include and like what I look at when I'm grading your assignment. Okay. Um, there's instructions here. It's the AHA presentation instructions. And I use those instructions. I want to make sure that you follow those and that you do everything that you're required to. And then I also use these two rubrics. I use the critical thinking rubric and the oral communications rubric. Okay, so I'm looking at a lot of different things while I'm watching your video. It should be 3 to 5 minutes long. Okay, if it's a little bit over, it's not the end of the world. But it should not be any less than 3 minutes. Okay, 3 to 5 is the best amount of time that you should be using. This might not be a one and done thing. It might not be something where you record it and you're done and you submit it, because that might not be the best quality, right? You need to open your video after you record it, watch it, see if that's really what you want to turn in. You may have to redo it to get it to the point where you think you're going to get a better grade. Okay. I've had students redo it 4 to 5 times before they were satisfied. I've had students redo it more than that, but that's you don't need to do it more than that. If you get it right in the first couple of times, that's fine. But I do recommend that you watch it and that you are sure that that's something you want to submit. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the instructions. Maybe. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna increase this a little bit so we can see it better. And it goes through everything. I think pretty clearly, all right? But when you're reading through it, if you are unsure of anything, if you have questions, make sure you ask. So you're going to want to look through this stuff before the before finals week when it's due. Okay. Finals week is usually a really busy week for me. Um, I will answer questions, but it's going to be a lot easier for you to get a hold of me and to get a more timely response if you ask me in the weeks prior to finals week. Okay. Um, I'm not going to read this to you. I just wanted to bring it up so that you see it. Um, you need to have a really good introduction, right? When anytime you're giving a speech, you need to get your audience's attention, right? And then you have to keep it throughout the speech. So you have to have a good introduction. You have to have a nice, solid conclusion, okay? Um, you need to make sure you have that infographic. And again, if you don't know what that is, you're going to need to do some research, okay? There are templates that you can use. There are some pretty great ones, but it's really up to you to make sure that you know how to do that, okay? Um, and again, if you have questions, let me know. But you can you can find those templates in um, Word, in Microsoft Word. You can find them in Canva. You can just do a Google search and find some templates there. Um, don't use anything that you have to pay for or subscribe to. That's not the purpose of the assignment. Okay. I never want you to pay more than what you've already had to pay for your textbook. So don't go to that extreme. If you're going to use Canva, there are ones, if you already have a Canva account, that's fine. If you don't, there are ones that you can pay more for. I don't expect you to use those. Okay. There are free ones that you can get. You don't need to spend any money to create your infographic. Okay. Um, so in your infographic, you're going to um, talk about that aha moment. What was something that happened during the class, something that you read about, something that you listened to in one of the lectures or the videos that made you really think, oh, that is where I'm off course, or oh, that's really going to be a game changer for me if I adopt that habit, something like that. Okay. So, and make sure that you're including like what you need to do to make the changes, if that's what you're talking about. Okay. So read through this instructions very carefully. Make sure that you understand them. Ask questions if you have them. Okay. And then I'm going to look at the uh, rubrics. So you should still be seeing this. I'm hoping that my screen is still sharing with you. um, so I really take these very seriously. Okay. When you are doing your presentation, if you want high marks on that, you want a nice grade on that, you're going to want to hit everything that's in this exemplary level. Okay. If you're expecting to get an A, you're going to really need to meet all of these. Okay. If you are just wanting to pass the class with a C, you may be in the developing range for a couple, but mostly in the intermediate with maybe one or two exemplary. Okay, but if you want that A, you're going to need to hit all of these. So read through these rubrics and make sure that you understand what the criteria are and that you are following that for your presentation. Okay, so I'm looking at clarity of language, relevance. How is your presentation relevant to achieving college success class, right? Um, Analysis, and that's like self-analysis, right? Interconnection and self-criticism. And that doesn't mean beating yourself up about something. That means really looking at your habits or what you are doing, what's working specifically to you. Okay. Um, Self-criticism can be a very positive thing. It doesn't have to be that inner critic that we've been talking about. That's not what's intended here. All right. Now I'm going to pull up the communications rubric. And again, I do take these rubrics very seriously. So you need to make sure that if you want that high grade, that you're doing the high quality work that would follow with this exemplary level. Okay. So I'm looking for an introduction, a nice, solid introduction that really grabs the viewer's attention. Okay. And I'm looking at the body. So I'm looking at your presentation, but I'm also looking at your infographic and the information you include in that, right? You don't want your infographic to be so wordy that the print is so small, no one is ever going to be able to read it, right? You want it to be very clear and concise. Um, so I look at the body of your infographic, but I look at the body of your speech as you're presenting that. Okay. I look for a really strong conclusion. Um, any speech, any paper, anything like that that you do, you really need to tie it all together at the end and create a really good conclusion. I look at the delivery. Okay. So try to make eye contact with the camera. If you are looking to the side or you're looking down and your eyes are going back and forth and it's clear that you're just reading from a script, that's not a very good presentation. Okay. You need to talk to your audience. So you need to look at the camera and you need to talk to the camera as if it were a room full of your peers, right? Other students. So delivery is important. If you are using words that you don't know how to pronounce, that's a problem. Okay, you need to make sure that whatever you are saying, you know how to say it correctly. Um, just like spelling and grammatical issues matter in an essay, the way that you present your information and how you speak counts in a speech or a presentation like this. Okay. And then visual aids, I look at, again, your infographic. Okay. So it's a lot. I'm looking for a lot in a short 3 to 5 minute presentation. But that's the assignment. And so I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of everything that is involved with that and that you are looking ahead, working ahead, um, not waiting until the last minute to find out what an infographic is or to try to figure out how you're going to record if that's not something that you've done before or that you're comfortable with. Okay, you may have to try several different um, ways to record. Okay, you do have Screen Pal as a WNC student. That's part of what you have in ClassLink, so that could be an option. Zoom. Um, YouTube, of course, but I need that working link. Okay, it's if you try to send me like an MP4 file, it's probably going to be too large, and I won't be able to open it. So you need to send me a working link, and whatever platform you use, you need to make sure that it's public or that you share it with me. If I click on it and it doesn't let me, I don't have access. I can't grade what I can't open. So you have to make sure that that's open, okay? And you don't have to keep it open. As soon as you see that your grade is in, you can make it not public anymore. But I do need to be able to open the link. Okay, so look through all of that information. Make sure you understand the assignment, the requirements, the expectations. Okay, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay. I'm happy to meet with you in person or on Zoom if you're not on campus. Okay. All right. Have a great week.